George Carlin. First, let me say there's nothing I can do for your career.
I opened for Lionel Richie at the Greek Theater. They say you can't look at Lionel. And I still got show adrenaline going, and I see Lionel, and he walks by. And just out of instinct, comic instinct, I just looked in his direction, and I just said, hello. And they said, no, you can't talk to him. No.
I used to be devastated by a bad set, not really be able to feel good about myself until I had a good set, and in my early days that could be months. So it was just
the night you're there, I walked around the front and there's a guy scalping tickets, and I hug him. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Lionel can't take it.
Looking forward to that.
You say, could you use someone else's name when doing my please?
Hey, welcome to the Big Comedy Podcast. I'm Jim McHugh, and hello to Karen Morgan. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going today?
It's going great. So far, so good. I'm taking a little chance. I'm on my deck, and the wind's blowing, and it's getting gray. So if it starts to rain, we're going to have to make a run for it.
I'm just pretty impressed. I thought maybe you were going to do this from a camping trip. You look like you're like way in the woods. Like you're lost in the
yeah,
woods.
that's my backyard.
Oh, well, let me get my camera. There it goes. It likes to go out of focus when I jump in too far.
So thanks for coming. We're really excited. We're going to have you at McHugh's Comedy Club this Saturday at the Roundabout Diner in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And we just got really lucky that we were able to book you, that you had an opening, and because we can't afford you. So
that's what my husband says. That's what he says all the time.
Right.
No, I'm excited about coming down there. I try to stay in Maine for the summer. You know, people try to get me to go out of town for the summer, and I try just to stay home. So, you know, Portsmouth is quick driving distance for me. I'm happy to come down there. I'm excited.
Good. Yeah, I think you'll have fun. It's a fun room, and you got to be careful because there's a lot of good food there. There's a lot of.
I understand there's some barbecue involved. I'm going to have some barbecue.
Avert your eyes and walk by. Try the barbecue. They get usually a good barbecue dealer. So I have a little bit of dry bar envy. I have a little bit of dry bar comedy envy because you are on fire. I thought I was doing good. You got, what do you got, 4 million or something? Or
you know, I stopped looking at the numbers because every time I wanted to look at the numbers, I would see some comment. It's just like, you know, you get all the really, really nice people, really, really nice comments, and you get the one guy that says, oh, just another trans comic or just another woman out of it. Was just like, you know, don't even. So I was just talking to a friend of mine today. Her dry bar came out yesterday, and I said, whatever you do, just don't read the comments, you know, just enjoy being on there. Yeah.
You know what somebody did for me, which was like, because I have this, they said Louis C.K. light, which I'm nothing. I wish I was that good a comedian. I mean, like, you know, I guess that's an insult, but then they inherited it. Like,
some ways
and I got, you know, this. So, but I'm about a foot taller than them. We do completely different acts. You know, it's like, but you can't look. You do not look at the comments.
No, don't look at it, because it's late. It's, I don't know if this is terrible, but it's lay people, and everybody entitled to their opinion. And comedy is an art form. It's completely subjective. Right. You like what you like, you know, and that's okay. So as performers, we have to sort of do our best, enjoy it for ourselves, first of all. And then, you know, if other people like it, that's great too, but don't go out there for the comments.
Like we put the buffet out, and if they're going to complain because there's no crab rangoon, we just give them directions. The Aku's down the road, pal.
Exactly. You can find another place to go. And you have to, as a comic, you have to have thick skin about most of these things. And we're all human also. Right. And so it's like the one person in the audience that's, you know, doing this, and everybody else is having a great time. And we all think about that one person with their arms crossed. So I equate it to that. So anyway, dry bar has been helpful. It's been, I do like that it's clean, and it goes to a different audience. I got a note from some dude in Australia yesterday, and I'm like, there's no way I would have ever reached Australia without that. So I've been very
Absolutely.
grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a writing gig out of that, and I got a lot,
Yeah.
you know, like, and you know, I think my thing now is I got to kind of go back through my social media and take that, because I can work very clean, but sometimes I'm not.
Right.
But I think I really want to lean into that more now, because I'm just ready to. I just enjoy it more.
Yeah. I think it
And,
makes you a better writer.
Yeah.
It has made me a better writer to really, you know, craft something that's really, it makes it smarter in a way. You have to really take your time with it. And I had to go back. My second dry bar I taped in last September, and what it's called dry bar. People don't know it's dry bar because it's without alcohol. And I had a lot of alcohol references in the set that I was doing at the time. And I had to go back and change a few things. And I found out it didn't, those bits did not work without the alcohol references. So I just had to take them out. Yeah. So I'm not swearing, but I'm talking about
a second one. Do you think you're getting as big a response because you're building on what you already had out there?
I think so, but I also think I'm so not known in the universe of comedy. I'm still, you know, under the radar, which is totally cool with me. I'm, you know, I didn't start doing comedy till I was 40. So I'm totally fine with where I am. But it's been nice to finally have a little bit of a boost to go, oh, okay, well, this is all not for nothing. You know, all these shows I'm driving to in these different places, it's actually working. And the irony is, and you have enough birthdays, you sort of care less about what other people think and more about, are you enjoying it yourself? Because I'm all about that. And I'm all about that with my social media too, because I'm super happy we didn't have social media when I was in my 20s.
Oh man, me too. I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know,
some of us would be in trouble, I think. And, you know, I have had some interesting discussions with my children, most of which are, remember, everyone has a camera. So don't.
Well, yeah. You know, it's like, I talk about that. It's like, you know, our parents used to just push us out of the house in the summer. They'd go, when the street lights are on, come back. And we could be doing anything for like 8 hours at a time. I mean, it was just like, it was lawlessness.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I have a whole bit about that, about, you know, it is sort of the end of the baby boomers, first part of Gen X, that we were really on our own. You know, that's my bit, is that we had Home Depot parents. You're on your own. You have no supervision. I think it made us stronger in a way. And also, I don't know, I think we got away with quite a bit more than we probably would have.
Crazy. I remember, like, you know, you could come home, you know, riding your bike and just throw your bike on the front yard and walk in. You could have like smoke coming off your clothes. Yeah. Your mother, like, what's going on? You'd be like, nothing.
And as long as you were home by the street lights, you're fine. Yeah, that was it. That was about the only rule. Don't bleed in the house. That was my mom's.
Right. It's a nice day. Get out of here.
Get out of sight. My mom locked the door. She would lock us out. Just locked.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Now you can't. Now, I don't know when I think my friends are the ones that started this whole helicopter parent thing.
It's exhausting.
Was the end for the whole country.
What was interesting is I had a big backlash on TikTok. A video that I put up talking about how we had no parental supervision. It came from the younger kids saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your childhood trauma." It was just like, wait, we had fun, but there seemed to be a rubber band effect where, you know, some of us who weren't parented all the time over-parented.
Right.
I'm not one of those people. You can ask my kids. As long as you're home at a certain time and I relatively know where you are, I don't really care what you do. Just don't call me from jail, kind of a thing.
Or the hospital.
Or the hospital. Yeah, because I'm not taking you to the hospital.
That's awesome. So you grew up in Georgia?
I grew up in Athens, Georgia. I grew up there, and then I ended up staying there and going to college there. So I'm a University of Georgia Bulldog.
Wow. Okay.
And we won a national championship on January 7th. And I was there. I drove from Maine to Indianapolis to go to that football game. And
wow.
It was, I'm so glad I went. My dad, the last time we won a national championship was in 1980, and my dad took me, and I was 16 at the time, and it was in New Orleans. And I spent New Year's Eve as a 16-year-old on Bourbon Street.
Wow.
And thankfully no cameras or phones then. You know,
Right.
I don't have any pictures of the whole of it, which is sad because my dad has passed away 23 years ago now. I wish I had photos of us at that game.
Yeah, that
But,
was the only downside.
yeah.
You didn't get a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Like it had to be a real big event for someone to actually remember to get film and put it in a camera and
an actual thing.
and
We
take
had
really bad pictures, really bad.
awful pictures of people's thumbs.
Yeah, like
My
you
mom-
know, you're out of the frame. You know, that's my brother Mike's ear.
He's right there. I promise he's there.
Yeah, he's there. He was there.
We had in college, we had a guy, his name was the Picture Man, some really smart dude who came up with this business. He would go to fraternity and sorority parties and take pictures. And then he would come back with a roll of film and you would order your pictures. And so all of my pictures from college are Picture Man pictures. And
cool.
My son is now at a frat down in South Carolina. He didn't believe me. I'm like, oh yeah. And so he started looking up and there's an Instagram account called Vintage Frat. And all these pictures are on there. I'm like, yeah, they're real. I'm probably in there. Don't look. Don't look at those.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And is it? I mean, I guess the frat life. I can't imagine. Is it changed or is it just as lawless? Or
You know, we went to Parents Weekend, and let's just say the frat party that we went to with my son got shut down by the police because the parents that were there were crazy. Like the parents were over.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. It's a little different, but at the same time, it's also the same. It's you know, I told my son, this is my younger one. He took a gap year because of COVID. He was the lucky high school class of 2020. Ooh. So he took a gap year because he's like, I don't want to go to college and not have a real college experience during COVID, which is probably pretty smart.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, listen, you're going to go to a state school in South Carolina. It's going to be a party school. I don't care how hungover you are. You go to class. Like just show up. If you show up, you'll be fine. And he at the end of the year is like, Mom, you're right. I was super hungover several times, but I went and he did well in his grades. So it's, you know, the drinking and stuff like that hasn't changed a whole lot. I think it probably is about the same. We just consider it worse because there are kids now doing it. But anyway, he's having fun.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man, that's funny. And I know you do corporate work. You do all kinds of stuff. But do you do colleges? Do you stick your toe into that?
I don't do colleges. I don't do colleges or project graduations. I've been asked to do y'all have those in New Hampshire down there? Do y'all have project graduations?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's a thing in Maine where the night the kids graduate from high school, they take them and they give them entertainment and things like that. And a lot of times they'll have comedians. And I've been asked to do it. I'm like, no, I will do a show for the parents, you know. Right. But you don't want me for I'm not.
Well, it used to be, when I lived in New York, it was they had prom nights, which were insane.
You would do comedy on prom night?
Try to keep them awake and not drinking all night.
Right. Yeah,
but they were all drinking and they were all insane. Like off the charts.
Yeah. But they weren't listening. They didn't want to listen to a 40-something, 50-something-year-old comic, you know. And
they all want to be like just going crazy with each other. And it was like, you know, the worst kind of babysitting.
And I kind of feel the same way about the college stuff. I feel like my material is for parents. My material is for my age group. It just doesn't work for college kids. And that's okay. You know, that's again another great life experience in terms of comedy that I know where I fit. I also know where I don't fit. And I'm not going to try to, you know, push that. Although I have lots of good friends that do the college circuit. They're great at it. They do well.
Right. That's their thing.
And you get to earn your chops a little bit in terms of, you know, I hear a lot of battle stories about college campus, you know, gigs. It's like in cafeterias and things like that.
You and I also have a little bit of a similar thing in that we both got kind of involved with festivals.
Yeah.
But first tell me about that. And then I want to ask you if you've gone out kind of on your own into other people's festivals. I know you work with one.
I started Nantucket Comedy Festival, which has been going, I think now, is it 14? I forget which year they started, but I think I went out there probably the second or third year because my good friend Vic Henley was working with Kevin Flynn, who's the executive director.
There's no one who didn't love Vic, I don't think.
Yeah, so Vic was at Auburn the same time I was at Georgia. So we were the same age. I think he may have been a year ahead of me in school. So we had this sort of kindred spirits. We've known each other forever in terms of, and we were both big college football fans. And I would take him to Georgia games and he would take me to Auburn games. So we had a history. So when I started doing comedy and he was out doing the Nantucket Festival, he said, "Oh, you should come out here." So I went out there and met Kevin. It was such a fun time, with all the guys out there. And so I went as a performer the first few years. And then at some point the producer left to go do another festival, a film festival or something. And they were looking for a producer and, and they asked me and I'm like, sure. And like, I saw what was happening and how it got ran. And and I had been producing live shows since 2005 anyway in theaters. So it wasn't a big stretch. It was just sort of the bigger thing with festivals is the wrangling of the comics and the herding of the squirrels, as I'm sure you are more than familiar with. So I did it for a while and it was great. And then Vic sadly passed away in 2020, right during COVID. He did not die of COVID. He died of a pulmonary embolism, which was a lung related thing. So it was very confusing about the cause of death, but we miss him terribly. Yep. And so I'm going to go out there.
He was like an institution of the comic strip too. He was he was part of that building,
And he was so instrumental in bringing the big names to that festival, Jeff Foxworthy, Ron White, Lewis Black, it's the amazing numbers of people that came out there usually came from Vic. And he also, because he was such an institution at the strip, he was really familiar with what was going on in New York and who were the up and coming people. So
right. That's great.
Yeah. So we got to see a lot of those
about other festivals was because I think I'm going to venture out and start going to some other festivals this year. And I'm kind of bummed I'm not going to be able to see you this Saturday because I'm going down to the studio to do a set and kind of dip my toe in that pond. I used to live up here. I went everywhere every night. And that was like 20 years ago or 25 years ago now. So I got to get back out there and that old guy in the back of the room,
Well, here's the greatest thing about this industry is I don't think it matters how old you are. I really I don't. But you're right. You still have to keep it fresh and you've got to like dust off your fighting trunks every now and then. And the only way to do that is to get out there and do it.
I've told this story once too many times, but I was down in the Village and I was doing comedy and I thought a pretty good set and you come up onto the ground and there's like 4 NYU students and the kid actually recognized me. He goes, "Oh my, hey, you're the comedian." I went, "Yeah, I'm the comedian." And he goes, "I was just telling my friends, old guys are always the funniest." And I was like, I know there's a compliment in there. You just had to wrap it in that. And I actually said, I can find no dishonest word in that sentence. You are absolutely correct. I just don't want to hear it that way, but you're right.
It's absolutely true. But you look at, people like you and Don Gavin and Tony V and people that have been doing it. There's no one less funny, than Don Gavin. It doesn't matter. But it does take, you can't sit home and then just go every 6 months. You do have to kind of use the muscle. And
I've been going out a lot, but I just been going to booking my own things.
Yeah. Well, it's hard here in Maine. We don't have a comedy club in Maine. I think I told you that when we made this date that we don't have a club here, which is good and bad. We don't have a structured professional club whereby the younger comics, the up and coming people know the professional structure and how long should their sets be. I'm outside of Portland. I'm in Cumberland.
There used to be a club there, Comedy Connection.
Oh yeah, and that's where I started. I started there. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And
and I have a niece up there that I would love. She's great. She's managing one of the restaurants up there. But if I could find a place, I would get her to run it for me, But I think I love that city.
Yeah.
And I love that the people there and everything about it. And I just love to find a little room somewhere and hang my shingle,
Yeah, there's a need for it. I always talk to my husband. We have different businesses, and every time I'd say, I kind of would like to open a comedy club, my husband would say no, because you're going to take what you love and turn it into a job that's tedious for you. And you're never going to get to go travel and do your shows because you're going to be hiring bartenders and showing up for, so we opened an ice cream store instead, which I got a good taste of, staffing sucks. And the public in general, can be difficult. And so I'm glad my husband is supportive of everything. That's like the only thing he ever tells me no about consistently is no, not a good idea. And he's right. I have to admit, he is right.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But
I get all that too, by the way.
Well, see, I think but there's a need for it up here. There's a couple of rooms. They're just run very differently. They're not run for my demographic so much, and which is fine. There's a need for it, but Portland. The Comedy Connection was really great. It was perfect for me when I started. And I started there just doing a workshop and went straight to Nick at Night. So then I had to kind of come back and learn the ropes from the beginning, because I kind of, went in a different direction right away. So right. my learning path has been different and not normal for most comics.
Right. Oh, I thought you did a Funniest Moms. I thought that was like a contest you did and either won or.
Yeah, that's how I started. So do you know Tim Farrell? You know Tim, don't you?
I think I do. Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
Tim
I do.
teaches a comedy workshop here in Maine and is so great at what he does. So I took his workshop. My kids were small, like tiny, and I had 3 under 3, and I literally took his class to get out of my house once a week.
Yeah.
And so Nick at Night was having the search for the funniest mom in America at that time. So we had the graduation show, and you remember you have your giant VHS tape that weighs 1,000 pounds, you send it in your padded envelope that cost you $12 to mail. And I got to the finals of that. So that was like the first thing I did, like out of the gate. And so I did that without having really learned the comedy club circuit or whatever. So I went from that to theaters and toured with theaters for 5 years. So I kind of just had a non-traditional path, but I always tell people that ask me, I didn't start till I was 40. So my path wasn't going to be traditional anyway.
Right. And, you might not have made mistakes that you make. There's a manager that came out to the festival one year, and there was a couple of younger up and coming acts, and she was interested in talking to them. And she kind of told me in frustration, it's very hard to talk to comedians who have no experience with industry, because they're very suspicious of managers and agents. They're afraid to make a mistake. She says they ask each other what they, advice from people who don't have managers and agents.
Right.
And it's like 2 10-year-old boys explaining how sex works. You just go into the other 10-year-old, you're not going to get that information, go to another manager or agent or,
But they both feel adamantly right.
Well, you tell her this and you tell her that, you tell her this. And she's like, I'm on a plane. I'm going back to LA. I don't really, I'm not really hat in hand here,
Right. Exactly. I think that is the bigger fallacy of it is people that are newer don't realize those people don't really need you right now. No. You're not there yet. That's okay. You'll get there, but make sure you know where you are.
Yeah. Right. I think I'm going to have to catch up to you after someday. I want to ask you some producing questions.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I really had fun doing the festival. I had a great time out there. It was super fun. But I like festivals in general. I like going to them. I like meeting people. I like the fact that it's a festival. It's not. It's
I
a
like
different
going to
environment.
other people's festival.
Yeah. It's good. So I have a friend who says, Karen, stop going to festivals. But I'm like, who do I care? I want to go. I'm having fun. So
That's right.
yeah. And I've done a lot of them around the country, and some of them, I got there and I was like, this is kind of cool. I'm glad I came. And yeah, I'm usually the oldest person there, but I'm usually the oldest person there anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Well, if I go, I'll take that title away from you.
We'll trade.
Yeah, I just think I want to get back out there, and I want to see what other people are doing. And
yeah.
So I know Helen's going up to Just for Laughs, which I've been up there a bunch a long time ago, but it's like, yeah, it's time for us to both, kind of split up and start seeing some things.
See what other people are doing. I've never been to that one. I've been to many around the country, but I've never been to that one. And they're all run very differently. There's a group of girls who opened for me when I did a show in Atlanta, and they're running one in October, and they call me a lot to ask, and I'm happy to talk to them because I'm like, there's so many questions that you don't know when you're starting the first year of a festival. They have no idea how to go about it. They're super organized, but they just have never done one before. And what I told her the first day was, this is your festival. You can run it how you want to. I can give you some suggestions, but there's no rules. There's not
there's no how to create a festival course you can take.
No. Yeah. And everyone's different. Like, Nantucket was invitation only. Some of them are submissions, some of them are paid submission, but it doesn't matter. Do people come to it? Do they buy tickets? Did they have a good time? Successful. That's kind of it.
Right.
But I enjoy the process, and I enjoy the producing of the theater shows probably more than I enjoy anything else. And that's a whole different market. The performing arts market is a different thing from comedy clubs. It's a different thing from corporates.
Have you ever been to any of these things where they have groups of theaters that will all go to look at talent and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I'd like to produce like Best of the Boston Comedy Festival on tour and the Women of the Boston Comedy Festival. I never made it there, but I think there's value in that as well.
There's a whole lot. We should definitely chat about those kind of things because there's 4 main ones. Now it's changed a little bit since COVID. There's APAP in New York. There used to be one in the Southeast. That's gone belly up. There was Arts Midwest, and I went out and showcased that one many, many times and booked a lot of shows out there, but it just went belly up. COVID really changed a whole lot. So what's happening with those presenters meetings is that they're becoming smaller. So like the North Carolina presenters has its own for just the state of North Carolina. And now it's pretty big because people are getting smaller. And you really can connect more with the presenters when you go to them.
Yeah.
But I have found them to be super helpful for what I do in terms of clean comedy.
Well, I very much want to talk to you about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We should.
I really want to I'm really going to go full. But, because I did so many cruise ships, I have enough clean material to do a lot.
Yeah. And it's such a different thing. The theater stuff. Sometimes you've got an audience and the average age is 85 and you have to look out there and go, okay, let me get out this material. So you've got to have enough in your pocket to be able to swap your material out. But I tend to think that most of those audiences they skew a little older anyway, which is why I like them. Not a lot of 20 somethings unless their parents have made them come.
They had to drive them so they could get there.
They had to drive Nana to the show.
That's my wheelhouse.
I'm the Uber.
All right. Well, listen. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to? I mean, am I missing something? Something you want to talk about that's coming up? You're excited about, or?
Oh well, I'm excited. My new album is coming out on July the 7th. It's with Ghost Runner Records. We taped it in Omaha, of all places, in February, but they're working on it now. It's going to drop on, I think, July 7th, and there's a pre-release or something. Anyway, so that's my new album coming up. It's called Cocktails and Pajamas. And then my second dry bar will come out at some point, but as you know, you never really know when they're going to come out. They come out when they magically, someone calls you and I saw you on dry bar. You're like, I didn't even know it was out. So the second one, I think it'll probably come out in the fall would be my guess based on when I taped it.
Yeah, we
But
just
I'm
had
excited to come
Kathy
down and
Careth
see your
last
club.
week, and she was talking about her dry bar.
Yeah.
And I said the only advice I can have is be patient because it's not going to be instant coffee. It's going to be
No.
10 months from now or something.
Yeah, yeah. And quite honestly, my dry bar became more successful a year later when they put it on Facebook. When it first started just on dry bar, it was okay, but it didn't until I guess they have a certain amount of time they let it sit, and then they'll put it on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And until mine went to Facebook, it didn't really take off. So
I didn't know mine was. Do you know Careth Foster?
I know who she is. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine, but she called to congratulate me on my dry bar. I said, I know it's on YouTube. It's got, at the time I was like, it's got like a million and a half people. I can't believe it. She goes, I'm talking about Facebook. I go, it's on Facebook. She goes, yes, you idiot. I had no idea.
That's because we're just not in the, you know what? Our age is like a happy surprise. You're like, oh, okay. Some guy goes, I just rented your special on Amazon. I'm like, you paid for it? Like I was like, I'm sorry, you had to pay for it.
What you paid, I would have come to your house.
I will call you and do the whole thing on the phone. I'm happy to do that. So, but Jim, I'm so excited to come down. I'm sorry that I will miss you, but I definitely think you and I need to get together and chat about.
Yeah, you got a great lineup. You got Liam Hales, the Man Mountain, is going to meet you at the door, and he'll take care of your whatever you need.
Great.
And I'm very, very happy you're coming. And I just kind of kicking myself. I wish I could be there because I don't think we ever worked together. We have not. I think I did the Boston Comedy Festival once many moons ago, and it was awful. My personal experience was awful. I got there to Boston and I'm driving our family car and it had a ski box on the top. Oh no.
And I was trying to park in one of those stupid parking garages that had a low thing. So the ski box squished enough to let me in, but I couldn't get out.
Oh no.
So I went in, I had to go do my set and I was a wreck. It was just, and I drove home going, okay, this was not a good call right here. But anyway, but I never got to meet you. I didn't make it far enough to meet you, quite honestly. But I look forward to working at your club. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and let's talk because I got a lot of things I want to talk to you about. So
yeah. Hey, I'm in Maine all summer. Come on up. All
right, everybody. Karen Morgan, new album coming out. We believe in July 7th. It's Pajamas and Cocktails or Cocktails and Pajamas.
Cocktails and Pajamas.
I don't know which way that goes.
Doesn't matter.
And she's going to be. I'm very excited. Look, you got if you're listening to this. You should be going to McHugh's at the Roundabout in Portsmouth because I don't know when we're ever going to be able to get her to come back again. So don't miss this opportunity. She's very funny, and I'm very excited about this. Thank you for being a guest here on the Big Comedy Podcast.
Awesome. My pleasure. Have a great day.
Okay. Thanks.